The Public Servants Association of South Africa says the finance minister's plans to reduce the public wage bill is, quote, a declaration of war, close quotes. Tito Mboweni says he'll place limits on overtime and bonuses and review what he calls unjustified staffing at diplomatic missions. The PSA is calling this a misplaced effort to further cover up the effects and protect the culprits of corruption. To give us more on this, we're joined by the Assistant General Manager at PSA, Ruben Maleka. Good evening, Mr. Maleka. Thanks very much for your time. I'm looking at the strong language that is employed in your statement. You're talking about a declaration of war. You're talking about an untrustworthy employer. So clearly, your issues with the government did not start yesterday with the finance minister's pronouncements.
Yes, thank you, Vuyo, and thanks for the viewers at home. Firstly, one must ask this question. Isn't the time now that South Africans must also think of the 400 parliamentarians who spend most of the time sleeping and absconding as the first that should also be considered to reduce that cabinet, maybe to enough figure that we can have people that cannot be sleeping in that parliament before we even talk about the public service. We are very shocked by these announcements by the Minister of Finance, considering the fact that we had a meeting last year as union leaders with the Minister of Public Service Administration at the PSCBC. She assured us that there is no any attempts and any speculation of any retrenchment or any form of saying those who are older, 55 to 60, should be leaving the public service. Obviously, one must consider the fact that if we are saying that 55 to 60-year-old public servants should leave the public service, the question is that what criteria are you going to use? We are going to see the public service bleeding experienced personnel in the police, in the nursing, in teaching, and that the question is that then how do you replace that experience?
You don't think,
as the PSA, we are very much
you don't think there is an obvious problem if up to 8 rands out of every 10 rand we spend in the public service goes to salaries?
That's the point that we want to raise, to say that in the first place, when we had this meeting with the Minister of Public Administration, the relevant minister, she has not brought those issues to our attention to say that they are concerned about the public service. Remember now what the minister said in Parliament of Finance. He did not refer to the public service, he referred to the public sector. So we are saying, if you refer to the public sector, who are you referring to? Are you targeting only public servants? And that's why we are raising this point to say that it's a war against public servants, because we still believe that if you refer to public servants, they must include themselves as parliamentarians in this process, because they are also public servants.
Let's say we accept that. Let's say we accept that as a very valid and appointed argument. But I'm going to go back to what I asked. On your part, because these figures are out there, I mean, the budget is always out there. You know the numbers of public servants that this country has, but do you not think that there is a problem with a situation where out of every 10 rand that we spend, 8 rands go to financing salaries and related issues, because that obviously crowds out service delivery in the public sector?
I'm not sure about that information that 8 rand out of 10 rand goes to public service salaries. What I know is that...
Well, it's information that was given by the finance minister on the eve of his medium-term budget statement last year.
That we need to scrutinize, because the information that we have as public servants, and that is the debate that we have in the bargaining council, is that the public service or public servants form 35% of the total budget of the state. So that can be 8 rand out of 10 rand. And therefore, that's why we are saying that the issue of that public servants is bloated is an issue that everybody is trying to run away from real issues. They simply see the public servants as an easy target and attack them in terms of that they are bloated. The question is that, as we speak right now, as South Africans, how many police officers do we have out of the 48 million citizens? And how many nurses do we have? I know for the fact that there are some hospitals that operate daily 8 hours with one doctor. So if we are saying the public service is bloated, where is it bloated? Those are the questions that people should not just take it on surface and say that the public service is bloated without coming with figures and say where it is bloated.
Mr. Maleka, thank you very much for your time this evening. He is the Assistant General Manager at the Public Service Association.